Hello again. Hello again, my friends. Thanks so much for coming to hang out with me on this Friday evening, August 30th, 2024. All day I thought it was Saturday. It's a 3-day weekend here in the US. We have Labor Day on Monday to celebrate all the laborers, everyone who works so hard in this country, including all of us and all of you and me, no matter where you live, right? Circus music couldn't be more fitting for Tellus. Yep. It's like Zydeco. I think it's like Zydeco. Many of you, I think, were with me about what time did I do that? A couple hours ago when I covered a very tragic story of the death of Johnny Hockey. Johnny Goudreau and his brother Matthew were tragically killed last night in a drunk driving accident in New Jersey on the eve of their sister's wedding. And that SOB is in jail in New Jersey, and he feels a little inconvenienced because, Monday's a holiday and they get to keep him for 72 hours, so he has to be in there till next Thursday. Somebody wrote in my comments, and I cannot confirm or deny, but that guy, okay, and this is really weird. The guy's name is Higgins. He was hammered. He was driving a Jeep, and he killed a guy named Johnny. I mean, they say there's no such thing as coincidence, but that is a tragic story. The Goudreaus should be celebrating their daughter's wedding today, and instead they are mourning the loss of both of their sons in one night. It's horrifying. I'm a huge hockey fan. And so, although I was going to cover Sandra Birchmore today, I woke up to that news on Johnny Goudreau, and I just started getting into the Sandra Birchmore stuff. And it's just, you know how tragic that is too. And I'm like, you know what? So many people sent me this interview of Boss Baby from jail. And I thought, I'm going to watch it anyway. So why don't I watch it with you guys? And it would be a little bit lighter than covering Sandra Birchmore, which I think so many people have just come on and just read the documents to you already, that if you'd like me to do a different take on Sandra Birchmore, I'm happy to do that. I hope that guy spends the rest of his life in jail, at least let's say farewell to Farwell. Na, 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 na. Hey, goodbye. Bye, Farwell. Farewell. So good to be back with you guys. Let's give everyone a moment to come in. Hi, Ricky. Howdy to y'all, too. Thanks for being a member for 7 months. Appreciate you so. Oh, well. Oh. Thank you. One of my kids is going to bring me dinner. That's amazing, because they have to check YouTube to see if I'm on the air, so they know if they're allowed to open the garage and other noisy things while I'm here. Oh, Wendy, darling, thank you so much for the 20. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you so much. Yes, I do. I have to get back to Sandra Birchmore. I'm just didn't have the mental bandwidth for that today. I think I did 4 streams on whatever the last day. Today's Friday. I thought it was Saturday all day. Wednesday. I did 4 streams. Took yesterday off because I just needed to. I was getting a little hot under the collar by the last stream, and I thought I need to take a break from YouTube for a day. So I did that. And then this tragic story happened today about Johnny Hockey and his brother, and it's craziness. Here on Long Island, we had 2 insane cases happen that I have to get to both of. Maybe I'll do some pre-recorded videos and put them out. One of which is a guy who murdered his entire family on his front lawn in Syosset of the house where he lived with his mother, who was, I think, 95 or 98 years old. He had been living with her for many, many years. He was, I think, 60 years old. His mother died. And then all his siblings came over because they were going to meet with the real estate person to sell the house. He shot 5 of them and then shot himself on the front lawn. And I'm thinking to myself, what is going on? And I thought, I bet you anything he was living with his mother all these years. He thought when his mother died, he was going to be able to stay in the house, and his siblings came over and they were like, yeah, no, we're selling the house. And in an act of desperation, perhaps that's what happened. And in more tragic news on Long Island, thank you, Cyber Chick, for the 10 super stickers everywhere. And this one is out of St. James / Nissaquag on the North Shore of Long Island. A guy goes to pick up his daughter at his ex-wife's house, tells the daughter to go wait in the car, goes in the house, shoots and kills the ex-wife and her boyfriend in the car, gets back in the car with the daughter, who's I think 15, and says, yeah, I just shot your mother and a boyfriend. I don't know. I think maybe they're dead. And then the daughter starts freaking out and texting her girlfriends like, I don't know what just happened. And then I think the friends started calling her mother. They couldn't reach her. So they called the police for like a wellness check. And now this guy's in jail. Like both those things happened in the last 3 or 4 days. It's insane. Thanks, Wine Yogi. Thanks for being here for it. So, you guys who live here, you've heard about those stories, but I don't know that everyone else has heard about this. And I mean, aside from, the Long Island serial killer and, people like him, and we had another serial killer here too once, but we don't get these kind of stories that often. And I wish I could say that, but it seems like they're more and more common. No. Nope. I don't think so. Nana Squishy, which one are you talking about? The guy whose mom died and then they would sell her house? Colleen, thank you, Colleen, for the super sticker. You didn't even ask me a question. Thank you, Colleen. I don't know what is wrong with people. And this poor 15-year-old girl, how is she going to go on with her life? Now her mother's gone. Her father's going to be in jail. I'm following him now because I've got him. I'm getting court alerts now for the next time he's going to be in court. I'll go in for that probably. His name is, what is his name? Daniel Coppola, I think. It's like insanity what's going on over here in the world. But I'm chit-chatting with you because I can. Because the last stream, somebody made a comment like, why does it take you so long to tell the story, Melanie? I don't know, because I was trying so hard not to cry during that last stream that it was just slowing me down a bit. That's what we do here. That's what we do. Okay? So first thing I want to do is, so we knew Boss Baby wasn't going to be able to keep quiet, right? He's still proclaiming his innocence from his jail cell. But first thing I wanted to look at with you today was right after the verdict, the attorneys gave interviews. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So let's pull this up. The first one is from 8 News Now, Las Vegas, and I think both sides spoke to the press after the verdict. We haven't seen the attorneys speak out about this case, so I thought it was kind of interesting that perhaps we should take a listen before we get into Boss Baby's interview. So here we go.
Live, local, now.
One of the top prosecutors in the Robert Tellis murder trial sits down only with the 8 News Now investigators the day after the verdict. Thank you for joining us at 5. I'm Sasha Loftus.
And I'm Brian Loftus. The trial for the former politician who killed investigative journalist Jeff Gehrman now over after 2.5 weeks. Vanessa Murphy has this interview with Chief Deputy District Attorney Chris Hamner. You'll only see here on 8.
Prosecutor Chris Hamner sharing what it was like to take on Robert Tellis as he took the stand in his own defense.
Unequivocally, I'm innocent.
I think Mr. Tellis felt very strongly about probably telling his story exactly the way he wanted to tell it, and he got the opportunity to do that.
The way this testimony happened,
I didn't kill Mr. Gehrman.
a first for Hamner. Defense attorney Robert Draskovich asking the judge to do it by narrative, meaning he doesn't ask his client questions while Tellis shares a story and claims of being framed.
You believe that professional assassins want to draw attention to themselves when they're carrying out murder. That's the testimony.
When they're framing someone, yes, sir.
His answers are, as I said, they were incredible and not in a good way. Like, it was bad.
Not in a good way. I love him so much. I love Chris Hamner. He hammered it home. He hammered it home to the jury. This is the first time he's ever had narrative testimony in his career. So I think that's interesting too, because so many people were asking me, have you ever seen this in a trial before? And I really couldn't remember a time when I did. He's never seen it either. So interesting. Let's just take that back. Not in a good way.
I said they were incredible and not in a good way. Like, it was bad. He would say things that just didn't make sense.
Hamner and prosecutor Pam Weckerly pointing to evidence like Tellis's DNA under Jeff Gehrman's fingernails, videos, photos. There were more than 400 exhibits in the case. Later in the trial, Hamner dropping a bombshell. This "where are you" text from Tellis's wife the day of the murder, which shook up his alibi. Hamner says it was a challenge to find it, though. It wasn't on Tellis's phone, while it was on his wife's Apple Watch.
We go and get the pictures, and sure enough, it's there. And so that's kind of the genesis of it. But it really was out of a frustration of, I can't seem to find the "where are you" text that everyone seems to be talking about. It's just not in the phone.
Also unexpected, this photo. Draskovich suggesting this driver appears to have hair.
Look at the profile.
How much of a curveball was that photo
listen to
from
this.
Draskovich in his closing statement?
Listen, he's a great attorney. And I think he did an amazing job with a really difficult client. I don't envy the position he was in. I thought he did a masterful job working with what he had to work with. So I give him credit for finding the exhibit. But, you know, when you look at it and you kind of zoom in, what starts to happen is like the pixelations kind of change. You look at all of it, it's not going to amount to reasonable doubt when you have all that the DNA evidence. I mean, it was overwhelming, the evidence in this case.
Except it took the jury 3 days, and we were all so very nervous that they were going to come back with a not guilty because of that picture. And even he said that it was a curveball, and he complimented Draskovich, which I love when attorneys do that and compliment each other, because most of the time, while I was a plaintiff's attorney, most of my friends were defense attorneys, because those are the people I hung around with, because those are the people I saw in court all the time. And my friends were defense attorneys. So the fact that he can compliment a defense attorney is a really nice thing to see.
And the jury agreed, returning the guilty verdict for murder after about 12 hours of deliberations.
What did they say took so long?
I think it's just the process. You know, it's a collaborative process. You can't just steamroll your way through it. I think they understood the gravity of things. But I'm really relieved, and I'm really happy for the Gehrman family. They've gone through a lot.
In October, Judge Michelle Levitt is scheduled to decide the sentence for the enhancements for use of a deadly weapon and for Gehrman's age as a senior. They could both add an additional 1 to 20 years on top of the sentence of 20 to life. Reporting in downtown.
He didn't get 20 to life. He got 50 to life. Wait, this one, he got 50 years with a chance of 20, chance of parole after 20. Isn't this the reporter that we saw in the front row every day next to Matt from Court TV? Matt's the one who got the Jailhouse interview, so that's going to be cool. I think she is.
In Las Vegas, Vanessa Murphy, 8 News Now.
Vanessa Murphy.
Hearing there from Chris Hamner. Vanessa also interviewed defense attorney Robert Draskovich. You can watch that interview over at 8newsnow.com.
As I sat in the courtroom awaiting.
And here's our girl, Chaewon Jung. Except I think we already watched this clip together. So let me get to. Oh, no, I don't think we did, because this was. Yeah, this was just yesterday. Okay. Chaewon Jung, this is from yesterday.
Robert Tellis's fate, I felt the tension in the air. But once the jury's verdict was announced, those in the gallery were able to breathe a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, Tellis just shook his head.
Guilty.
No emotions from Robert Tellis as a court clerk read the guilty verdict. A jury finding the former Clark County public administrator responsible for murdering Las Vegas Review-Journal reporter Jeff Gehrman.
Special verdict. The jury unanimously finds the murder willful, deliberate, and premeditated.
Tellis stood shaking his head throughout the reading of his verdict. How does it feel now that there is a verdict?
There's a weight that's lifted.
Rita Reed and workers at the public administrator's office who used to work for Tellis and urged Gehrman to report about the inappropriate conduct in their workplace were at the sentencing. I saw them bursting out in tears as they left the courtroom.
Hoping for without parole. It adds a little level of fear for some of us. But for right now, very grateful that the verdict has come in and
A lot of you have asked why the state didn't push for a harsher sentence during the penalty phase. I had the chance to speak with the prosecutors in this case, Christopher Hamner and Pamela Weckerly.
Before we start that, just to clarify, that's when he got life with a possibility of parole after 20 years, correct? I have my notes like right in front of me that I forgot. We're here on a little sticky note, and it was the middle option. So 50 years with parole after 20 would have been the first option. It was life with a possibility of parole after 20 years.
That the jurors had spent a lot of time with the case, and we also knew that there were two families involved.
I also spoke with Tellis's attorney, Robert Draskovich, at the proceedings, who had the chance to speak with the jury at the end. He said the images he showed during his closing arguments made them dig in.
The entire jury said that they were concerned about the photos with the hair. I mean, that really caused them to kind of roll up their sleeves and start looking at all the evidence.
He spoke to the jury after the verdict, and that's what they said. They were stuck on the photos.
The two laptops.
Draskovich telling Channel 13 he thought the jury was attentive, they had holdouts, but worked through their disagreements.
What they decided to do is they were going to go through all the evidence together. There was a lot. I mean, that's why it took them 3 days.
Draskovich also telling me his client plans to appeal the conviction. Tellis is currently in protective housing at Clark County Detention Center, according to Metro. In the studio, I'm Jae-Won Jung.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Now, right to our top.
Did all the live tweeting from the courthouse. I can't watch this person. From the courthouse, she kept us apprised of what was going on, and we were there for it. And also, you guys went and followed her on Twitter. Thank you. She was very appreciative. She sent me a note appreciating it. Also, you can follow her on Instagram. If you follow her on Twitter, it's at Jaewon News, JAEWON News. She's a local Las Vegas reporter, and she deserves more followers. Because when I first found her, because she was the only one really live tweeting from the courtroom, and she was doing it regularly, she only had like 900 and something followers. So good for you guys for showing appreciation. And here's a little piece about the employees, what they had to say after the verdict.
Intimidating, humiliating, and ruled by rage. That's how several former coworkers described their office environment under Robert Tellis.
It was the most divisive, hostile environment I've ever experienced.
Janelle Lee and several colleagues told 13 Investigates when their complaints to Clark County administrators fell on deaf ears, they reached out to reporter Jeff Gehrman. He investigated their claims and wrote a series of articles exposing their concerns and outing Tellis's behavior.
I challenged him on a case, and he just got real close to me and said, "If you think I'm bad now, just wait."
The employees we spoke to said Gehrman finally gave them a voice.
When you see something, say something, right? Well, I saw something and I said something. And they said something because they saw something. We all said something. We all said something. And it fell on deaf ears, and Jeff's gone.
On September 3rd, 2022, Jeff Gehrman was found stabbed to death outside his home, with Tellis soon named as the accused killer. Tellis has repeatedly denied the murder charge, but blamed Gehrman's reporting for destroying his career, ruining his reputation, and threatening his marriage. Tellis's former staff members told 13 Investigates that attending the murder trial was a way of honoring Jeff Gehrman's commitment to accountability in county government.
Jeff was very respectful of my wish to be a source and be a confidential source, that after his murder, I feel like it's now time I have to step forward. So I believe it's important for us to carry the baton of being, just making sure justice is served and that bad things are not happening in our community. It's all of our jobs.
Our goal now is to live up to the faith that Jeff showed in us, and to do the very best we can. And I know it's a little obscure, little office in Clark County. A lot of people, even in our own community, don't know what it is we do, what kind of service we provide. But we're obligated now. We owe it to Jeff to make his sacrifice pay off by improving the office.
Yeah, good on those girls. Good on those girls. That's the interview. We're going to play that in a moment. Check in with all of you guys over here. Mark, thanks for becoming a new member. And Della, hello, Della. Love you too, as always. Mark is coming in from the UK and throwing out some super chats already. Thank you. And Jody, thank you for the 10. She said, I actually, after I thought about it, respected the jury for taking their time deliberating. Thank you again for your amazing coverage of all these beautiful, important cases. Oh, thank you. You are so very kind and generous, as always, to this channel. Everybody hit the like button or I'm going to turn off the air conditioning. You know, what happens when I turn off the air conditioning. You don't like it very much. It's hot. It is hot. I mean, I saw a lot of people, kind of upset in the comments that, he didn't get life without parole. And I was just thinking, wow, we were so nervous that it was going to be a not guilty. So I think, the judge can amend that if she so chooses. And we're going to come back in October for the official sentencing and we'll cover that. And I'm sure it'll be live, so we'll be able to cover it. So never fear, my friends, never fear. It was life with a possibility of parole after 20. Yes, that is correct, Kev. You're correct. Debbie says, I have this little tiny fly that is going to bug the crap out of me. We tend to get a little impatient waiting on the jury, but like he said, they went through all the evidence, which is good. Yep. And I liked how they were respectful to each other. Lamar says there's been a lot of speculation for what it's worth that maybe the one or two holdouts during sentencing might have held their ground on life with parole. You mean life without parole? Because he got life with parole. I think there were holdouts during the deliberations, not the penalty phase so much. And I was wondering what that was about, right? All right, now StreamYard's giving me an issue. You guys, if I start glitching, just hang in there for a second because I can see that it's like I'm on the Ethernet, so there's no reason why I should be doing this. So I'm just going to wait until maybe it passes and gives me a better signal before we start streaming the second stream. Are we breaking the internet, you guys? Is there like so many things, tons of things and stuff streaming right now that it's killing the whole internet? What's going on out there in the YouTube universe? Yeah, it's a really weak signal right now. What is going on? I mean, I don't even have that many tabs open. Hang on. Well, hopefully it's going to resolve itself. The stream I did earlier had a little issue because there was some music in there that they didn't like, so they struck it. But you know what? I don't care because it's all about hopefully justice for the brothers, Johnny Hockey and his brother. And also that's why it's good to have a sponsor. So let's take a second here just to hear a word from our sponsor so that we can not worry if we say anything inappropriate that YouTube's not going to like. And that's why it's great to have a sponsor. So if you guys don't know about this major hack that just happened, your social security number and mine have been leaked to the dark web. The reason I know is because I use my sponsor and they told me that my social security number was found on the dark web. So let's take a listen to a commercial from my sponsor, Aura, who's going to help you through this horrific time. If you've ever had your identity stolen or if you know anybody who has had their identity stolen, it is an absolute nightmare. Other people in the chat will tell you because it's happened to them too. So just take a quick listen to this. Today's video is sponsored by Aura. And it's a really important time to be talking about them because hackers may have stolen the social security numbers of every American. Over 2.9 billion records were stolen from National Public Data, which offers personal information to employers, private investigators, staffing agencies, and others doing background checks. These stolen records include a person's full name, address, date of birth, social security number, and phone number, along with alternate names and birth date. And members of this hacker group have reportedly released this information on the dark web for free. I don't know if you've ever had your identity stolen, but I've had clients who've had their identity stolen. And not only is it a major hassle, but oftentimes before you find out, it's too late. The damage can take years to undo, and it's a hassle that you definitely do not want to deal with. So if you haven't been taking precautions before with your personal information online, this should be a huge wake-up call. You've never been more vulnerable online than you are right now. But I'm not too worried about it because I use Aura. Aura alerts me if they find my phone number, my email, my social security number, or any other personal information on the dark web. They're going to let me know fast if anyone tries to use this information to access my credit or bank accounts. They give me up to $5 million in identity theft insurance should the worst case scenario happen. They also provide a bunch of other features to keep you safe online, all inside one app. And you can go to my link at www.aura.com/Melanie Little to try it for free for 14 days. That'll be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal information or data has been exposed. I highly recommend you do this right now because not only is national public data not going to do anything to help you, they probably aren't even going to face any repercussions for this breach. I'm not leaving myself and my family vulnerable to data breaches. And if you don't want to either, you want to go to my link, www.aura.com/Melanie Little, to try 2 weeks for free. You can thank me later. You can thank me later. All right, let's check out the Jailhouse interview that Matt Johnson of Court TV, who is sitting in the front row of the courthouse every single day in Clark County, Nevada, he got the scoop on this. So good on Matt Johnson. I like him. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. All right, let's see. Let's see what Tellis has to say for himself. We're going to stop. We're going to talk about it. So if that's not the way you like to do things, then, maybe you don't want to watch it here and just, you don't need to stop and leave a nasty comment. You can just go watch it uninterrupted somewhere else. But fair use commentary, it's a thing. It's the law. It's what we do here. All right, let's go.
We, the jury in the above entitled case, find the defendant, Robert Tellis, as follows. Murder with use of a deadly weapon, victim 60 years of age or older. Guilty of first-degree murder with use of a deadly weapon, victim 60 years of age or older. Special verdict. The jury unanimously finds the murder willful, deliberate, and premeditated. The jury unanimously finds the murder was committed by means of lying in wait. The jury unanimously finds the murder was committed by means of elder abuse. Guilty of first-degree murder with use of a deadly weapon. Special verdict. The jury unanimously finds the murder willful, deliberate, premeditated.
Yeah.
Welcome back to TV Live. The breaking news, well, we knew it was coming, but still breaking because the video is coming in right now of our Matt Johnson speaking with Robert Tellis. He's talking about his conviction from his jail cell. Matt headed over to the Clark County Jail to talk to Tellis about the guilty verdict this week and his sentence. Remember, a jury found the 47-year-old former Las Vegas politician guilty for the stabbing death of investigative reporter Jeff Gehrman. Tellis took the stand. He claimed that this was some massive conspiracy. The jury obviously didn't buy it. They did take a long time in deliberations, though, and people were scratching their heads, what's going on?
Yeah, we were.
That closing argument from the defense, all that Matt is going to bring up with Robert Tellis. So without any further ado, let's head to the jailhouse and the interview. This is our Matt Johnson talking to convicted killer Robert Tellis.
I mean, thank you, Patriotic. I don't know what I just did to myself. Let me go back here. So as I started listening to this alone and earlier, and I stopped it, I'd much rather play the interview with commentary. Thank you. I would much rather watch it with you guys than by myself. So thanks for watching. Thanks for coming. Hope your whole fam is here. Helene says, one local news got an interview too. Also, have you seen video about him in college? Similar song and dance when he got dismissed from a leadership position. No, I have not, Helene, but I'm interested. I wonder if Boss Baby would give me an interview. Do you think he gets access to YouTube in prison? Because I would go there to interview him if he would let me. I have some things I'd like to ask him. You guys could give me a whole bunch of questions and I would go there and ask him whatever you wanted. Okay, here we go.
Being with us. I know that we have limited time, so I wanted to start with this. You were convicted of first-degree murder 2 days ago. Do you have a message for Jeff German's family?
Yes, sir. And I am very sorry for their loss. It's tragic. He was clearly a good man who made a difference in the community and a difference in his family, but they certainly have my condolences, but I'm not guilty. I am innocent of his murder.
A jury of 12.
Shout it from the rooftops. Yeah, I'm sorry for their loss, but say this is how the typical, the personality type speaks like that. There's never a genuine apology, right? Yeah, I'm really sorry for their family, but it wasn't me. This is great how we can see Matt appear in the corner and his cameraman right behind him getting in frame because it's like a Zoom type screen or like a Skype or like a FaceTime type screen.
You're a former attorney. You helped select this jury. You say that they got it wrong?
I do. Yes, sir.
Why is that?
Obviously, there was a lot of evidence in, I think, every different direction. I think one of the important things that the jury did not focus on was the fact that, as was heard earlier during the trial, that at 8:50 a.m. I was at home texting with one of my kids. I did not leave home. And at 9:10, this SUV that looks very similar to my SUV pulls into my neighborhood while I'm still at home, then drives out 2 minutes later, follows the path to Mr. German's home, murders Mr. German, and makes its way back toward my home.
Well, let's talk about that because...
Yeah, let's talk about that. First dig of the morning or the afternoon or the evening, whenever this interview was, first dig of tonight's interview is, you were a former attorney. You're a former attorney. So his license was suspended after his arrest. And now that he's convicted of a felony, he will be disbarred without question. That's like an automatic thing. So you were an attorney. And now he's like, yeah, let's talk about that. Okay, boss baby, if you were home, you would have been able to prove that you were home, right? Because you weren't home. You said you went out for a walk. Notice how he never said where he went for his walk. Did he drive somewhere to go for a walk? Did he just go outside and just start walking with his cheap Nikes from Ross or Marshalls and just walk around his neighborhood? Because if he did do that, he definitely would have been able to find video of himself doing that from one of the neighbors, right? Oh, here's Rob out, with his cheap sneakers walking around the neighborhood. He would have been able to find some proof. He couldn't. Yeah, makes his way back towards my home, right? Like, it's a coincidence, Wine Yogi. It's a coincidence. Exactly. Christopher, I'm like, what is his lawyer saying right now? He probably resigned. He's like, dude, you're on your own for the appeal. I'm out of here. And also, German's going to make himself like a jailhouse lawyer now. He's going to be helping every other prisoner with their briefs and their legal research and their legal writing, to get a couple of beans for his commissary. Because if he doesn't smoke now, he'll probably start smoking in prison. I don't even know. But yeah, his defense attorney's like, you're on your own, dude. I'm out. He went for a walk in his little moccasins, his little gray moccasins. That's right, because when he was surveilled, that was the argument for why Jappy did not frame him, because when Jappy was surveilling him, he never wore those Nikes. He was wearing his little gray moccasins.
Because prosecutors pointed to the text message that was on your wife's watch and not your cell phone. She was trying to get a hold of you. So where were you?
Again, as I testified, I had taken a walk. And when I came back home, I just walked in the door. I yelled up that I'm home, and that was it. I mentioned, too, that if I hadn't, that certainly she would have texted and called further. Right, so the fact that there was just the one call and text within a couple minutes of each other shows that, again, there was no concern that I was not yet home or anything like that.
Why would she have called further? Because she's a pest? She came in during your penalty phase, sir, boss baby, and she threw herself down there to beg for your mercy and talked about, with a smile on her face the entire time, by the way, what a great husband and father you were, despite, the DV body cam footage that we saw from 2020. and the fact that you were just convicted of murder. So, was she a pest? Is that why she would have definitely called you back? Or did you delete those too, the way you deleted the "where are you" text off your phone? But, he won't admit to that either. He's just going to expect us, again, gaslight us further into believing that because he says so, it's true.
Why frame you? Because you believe that you're being framed, right? Being framed by who and why? Why not just kill you?
Right, and then again, that was something that I addressed on the stand as well. So I believe that Compass Realty, I want to do my investigation on this, but I was able to prove it. But I believe Compass Realty framed me to stop me from investigating them. And so when you think about this question about, well, why not kill you instead? Again, killing me wouldn't have stopped the investigations into them, and maybe even bolstered those investigations, when people try to figure out why I was killed, or perhaps the investigations were picked up in my memory and worked on harder. But again, like I said, because now that Mr.
Look at Matt's face. Just look. If you're not looking at your screen, come look at your screen because you got to see.
My investigation of this, but I was able to prove it. But I believe Compass.
What happened? I just did something. I think I went back like a few seconds. But you have to just see Matt's face in this frame. He's holding the phone away from his ear because he doesn't want to get those jail germs on his ear. And he has his eyes closed. He's just like, really, dude? Really? You're still going with the Compass Realty framed me story? Really? Okay.
That they've engaged in. And also the real estate division complaint that I had filed against them, that got dropped after I got put in jail.
So there's proof?
It certainly is serendipity for them if, as a result of my supposedly killing Mr. German, that they get to walk away without any repercussions for their criminal conduct.
I heard you take the
Boss Baby's getting mad now. Look at his furrowed brow, and that's his story, and he's sticking to it. Look at what happened, and I can prove it now because now that I'm in jail for these charges and I was arrested for these charges, everything against them got dropped, so they got to get away with their criminal conduct. Compass Realty did. Take Matt's question back because I spoke over him a second.
Away without any repercussions for their criminal conduct.
I heard you take the stand, and I was there in court each and every day. You were there on the stand for a duration over 3 days, and you mentioned that on the stand. Why did you want to take the stand? If you did it again, over again, would you? Because the jury didn't seem to believe what you had to say in your narrative.
Yeah. They didn't.
Yeah, I would do it again. I don't know that it's necessarily that my testimony had a negative impact. I think perhaps had we highlighted again a little harder the inconsistencies with the evidence, that perhaps they would have seen the truth. I don't know that my testimony had a negative impact. In fact, I think it, at the very least, the public got to hear my story.
Bang, bang, a bang, bang. I bang, banged myself right out of here. A bang, bang. I did it again. StreamYard hates me. They hate me. They hate me almost as much as Compass Realty hates Rob Tellis. Don't worry. Back. Oh, for the love of the traveling Mary. Okay, here we go. You can't make this stuff up. You just can't.
At the very least, the public got to hear my story. And, while they're not jurors, they can decide whether or not this is all true, but I'm innocent. And so I guess that's bottom line for me.
So who killed Jeff Gehrman then?
And like I said, I believe it is someone who was hired by Compass Realty.
Oh, now it's someone who was hired by
what
Compass
steps
Realty.
are you going to do moving?
Now it's someone who was hired. Oh, yeah, that's right. The hitman, right? It was a hitman hired by Compass Realty. And everybody's involved in the conspiracy, right? That's what he said. Everybody's involved with the conspiracy. Mama She, thank you for your $10 super sticker. Maya, thank you. Anna Crumb, need you to cover Sandra Birchmore too. Oh, I'm gonna do it. I just couldn't do it today. Like I didn't have the bandwidth. I figured I would let it settle down. Everyone's already read you the documents. I'm gonna go back and I want to put a different spin on it. And Susan Costello, thank you for your super sticker, $50. So generous always to me. I love you so very much. It was a hitman hired by Compass Realty. He's not really sure exactly who it is, but like, Hamner pointed out during Cross, how stupid would a hitman be to do the things that this alleged hitman did, like not close the garage, like go back to the scene of the murder. Does that look like a professional hitman to you, baby boss? Boss baby?
Moving forward, if you say that you're an innocent man behind bars, you're yet to be sentenced, you're yet to be moved to prison, what's next for you then?
So right now I'm working on my appeals. I do believe that I will get out early on appeal. So I'm working on that right now. As far as any investigations that I'd hope to complete, unfortunately, I won't be able to do it from here. If there's enough time when I get out, such that all the evidence hasn't, basically aged, I guess, I don't know if it's aged out, but if there's still yet evidence remaining by the time I get out, then great. Then I'll continue to pursue those investigations when I get out.
Well, here's the thing. Robbie. The DNA, your DNA is going to be under Jeff Garman's fingernails forever. So it's not going anywhere. He will get out on appeal. He's told you that. He is in the process of working on his appeals, plural, because he's going to file more than one. And he is convinced that he will get out early on appeal. He's 48 right now. Even if he's never going to get parole after 20 years. Even if he did, he'd still be 68. Guy's going to be it's not happening. He's really delusional. Like delusions of grandeur are real. And this guy is like the poster child.
When do you think that you're going to be getting out? When do you think you're going to be getting out? You've been convicted of first-degree murder. You're going to be sentenced. And the possibility is after serving 20 years, parole, but you're unlikely to get parole unless you take responsibility for the actions that you've been convicted of.
Yes.
So, in fact, it's going to be longer than 20 years. There are enhancements, so I'll be looking at probably 28 years. But again, it is my belief that, and I'm going to continue working on this, that, I'll be able to get back to my family sooner through appeals. That's, I'm
28 years, he'll be 76 is my mathin'. He's still in the denial stage for sure. Yeah, at the age that Jeff was when he died, which was 69. Look, hey, it's great to have hope, right? And somebody put this in the comments, and that I forgot. I was going to bring this up to you guys, who were like, a lot of people were complaining he didn't get parole. Here's the thing: when you have a prisoner who doesn't have the hope or a chance of the possibility of parole, they have no reason to behave, right? And think of how dangerous that is for everyone who works in a prison, the warden, the prison guards, everybody. They need to have some sort of incentive to behave while they're locked up. Otherwise, there is nothing more dangerous than a person with no hope, right? So let's think of it that way as a consolation.
My main concern is getting back home to my family.
Let's talk about that, because in the mitigation, you had 3 witnesses that were on the stand in your defense. It was your wife, your ex-wife, and your mom. And you broke down in tears when your mom was on the stand pleading on your behalf for parole. And they were all characterizing you as a family man, but I hadn't seen your family in court supporting you during the trial.
Rub it in. Rub it in, Matt. Rub it in. I got to say that I think Matt Johnson is the best thing about Court TV right now. I love Vinny. And I'm in a private competition to beat him in YouTube subscribers, and I'm getting close. So if you guys would just hit that subscribe button, it's free, and it would just help me in my personal quest. I'm on a personal mission from God. But I think Matt Johnson is the best thing about Court TV right now. I'm just going to say it. I'm saying it. I met him. I've met him. I met him when I went to the Karen Reed trial. He's a very nice guy.
I didn't want them there. Because of all the media, you got to understand that my family, they love me. I talk to them all the time. As you heard, I talk to my kids all the time. I expressly did not want them during the proceedings. I didn't want them to suffer from all of this. That's been my main concern all along. So, yeah, they didn't show up because I asked them not to. I wanted to protect them from this situation.
Why did you cry?
He wants to protect them. He said, you heard that I talk to them all the time. I don't remember that. Anybody point me to where we heard anybody say that he talks to his kids all the time? Was it his ex-wife who said that? Because guess what, friends? Guess what? When he's in prison, child support checks are not going to be coming to his ex-wife for his, they share a 16-year-old, I think, or 15-year-old. So, is that an incentive to get the guy out of jail sooner? I don't know. He wanted to prevent them from seeing the circus. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure the mothers, both mothers, were like, yeah, no, we're not showing up to that. Because we've seen people show up to court for their husbands who are on trial and their wives who are on trial before, right? Give me some examples in the chat. This guy's really, I think he's lost it. He has really lost it at this point.
When your mom was testifying on
To protect my concern all along. So, yeah, they didn't show up because I asked them not to. I wanted to protect them from this situation.
He was protecting
Why did you
them.
cry when your mom was testifying on your behalf? And, you know, according to our viewers and people that have watched your trial, they didn't see much emotion from you whenever there were pictures of Mr. Gehrman or when his family was on the stand. Why is that?
We only saw him cry or show emotion when they showed the picture of the way his house was messed up by the search warrant and the way the police left his house in such a mess. He broke down in little blubbery baby tears. Do you remember? He cried then, and he cried when his mother had to get up on the stand because he knew he was such a disappointment to his mother who had him when she was 18. He became the man of the house when he was 13, and they had to go out into the fields and pick chili peppers to buy shoes. And somebody said, that's the hat they wear when they go pick chili peppers. Like, how weird is that?
I don't know that, I certainly felt for them. I don't know if my face, demonstrated or not, but I definitely felt for the family during their testimony. And I certainly, this has certainly been frustrating for me, but you got to understand that, I had to try to just prove my innocence to show the jury that, again, I am a family man. I am somebody who could not possibly have committed this murder. So that was my main goal during the trial, was to just to convey them and to show them the evidence, that I had seen that shows that this is, that I did not commit this murder. So,
like Dr. John said on Hidden True Crime, Tellis could have committed the murder, but Tellez, no, he would never do that. Remember how he shifted his persona the second he took the stand, and all of a sudden he called himself, when they said, what, please state and spell your name, Robert Tellez, Telles. Everyone's been calling him Telles. He called himself Telles during all the pre-trial stuff. So yeah, is he like disassociating from his body? And does he really truly believe that there's no way that Robert Tellez could have done this? Robert Tellez maybe, but not Robert Tellez. It's very interesting. Somebody said something about him and Sarah Boone. I think Sarah Boone got a new attorney today, so she's not self-representing, which would have been so much more fun. Yeah, he probably should have shown that evidence. Yep. That's right, Verbaler. That excuse about not wanting to hurt his family is a lie, because he was willing to take his own life in the bathtub. So they would think about it every time they used that tub. That's a great point. Yeah, Joe. John, you should have shown that evidence, right? Grow the farm up. I Googled the weird bald guy verdict and I wound up here. Is that for real? Because if that's for real, I love that for us. I love that we're at the top of the search pile when it comes to weird bald guy verdict. Because you are going to love it here. We have so much fun. Listen, RIP Jeff German, prayers up for his family. Thank God we got a conviction in this case, but we have been watching some pretty horrible trials lately with miscarriages of justice. Karen Reed, Ashley Benefield. So thank you, Grow the Farm Up, for coming here because you're going to like it. You're going to be so glad that Google sent you here.
You know, I'm sorry if it came off as though I didn't have emotion, but I thought I certainly conveyed it. And, you know, but,
And on that same regard, viewers online, people love to weigh in on what they're watching at specific times, but a lot of people didn't believe that there was emotion on the stand when you appeared to be crying. Were you crying, and why?
And that wasn't for show. That just was not for show. This is not something that I planned. Basically, when I was talking about the fact that I was basically tortured, mentally, during this period where they detained me during the search, and I was.
He was tortured mentally. Remember when they put him in that paper suit? Okay. And they wouldn't let him go. And he was not free to leave. They put him in that paper suit and it was freezing in there. And they would not turn on the heat. They wouldn't keep him warm. And then he had to go home in that paper suit. And when he got to his home, the media was there. And they got footage of him going into his garage in the paper suit. And that's when he broke down in tears. We got to hear that again because you remember that part of the trial. I know you do.
I was basically tortured, mentally, during this period where they detained me during the search, and I was already just about broken because they were talking about my family and what this was going to do to my family, and they'd already put me in this paper suit in this freezing environment, and by the time I walked into my house, it was a tornado. They trashed my children's rooms. They trashed my entire house. And my wife was sitting on the floor crying. And so I cried on the stand. And it wasn't for show. It wasn't me trying to gain any sympathy. I cried. And there were tears.
Yeah, there were tears. There were tears. Bolshevik Muppet says he didn't cry over the victim impact statements talking about German, but he saw it for himself. Yes. Do you think somebody said he maybe has OCD? I was thinking that too. You think he has OCD? And like it brought him to tears to see that his house was a mess and the garage was a mess and they found the hat and the shoe. Maybe that's why. Because he saw the picture of how stupid he was cutting up the Ross Marshall's fake Nike sneaker and putting it underneath his recliner. And he saw that in the form of a photograph on an overhead projector. And he made him burst out into tears because of how stupid he was. And then he's like, oh, damn, the hat. I should have put the hat somewhere else. I should have burned the hat. But he put it in a Sprouts bag and he put it on the tool shelf behind some other things. I'm on point with that. It looks like a cross between Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny right there, yeah? If Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny had a baby. What's up, Doc?
Case was wet, but it wasn't for public consumption. It wasn't for the jury's sake. That's just something that came out.
It wasn't for whose consumption? Hold on. His tears weren't for whose consumption?
Sympathy. I cried. And there were tears. My face was wet, but it wasn't for public consumption. It wasn't for the jury's sake. That's just something that came out. So if it looked unbelievable, then so be it, because it wasn't meant to be an act. It wasn't meant to be something to sway anybody.
And speaking of that jury, they were out for roughly 12 hours over 3 days. And they asked to see certain videos. One of the videos was what your defense team had pointed out with what they say was hair on the driver of the suspect in a vehicle. And then the second was a comparison side by side of you walking with the AP article of you in your office from that German interview, and also video of the suspect. And a lot of people say that it's the same walk, that you have the same the same walk as the suspect. You say that it's not? Do you see the similarities?
I don't agree, but everyone's entitled to their opinion, but no, I don't agree.
All right, we need a break. We'll get you back and pick
You
up
need a break.
Matt Johnson's interview with Robert Tellis. He's going to ask, why did you choose to get up on the witness stand and do the old narrative style rather than the questioning from your attorney? We'll see what Robert Tellis has to say about that next.
I like this reporter too. What's his name?
Friday
You know
night,
his
the
name? His
W-
name is escaping me right now. The anchor who just was on there. Nice looking fella. Are they going to make us watch the commercials? I can't watch the commercials. I think this doesn't go on for very long. I'll just mute it while it plays through. Mad Marcia, dude, you're on trial. You literally have 12 people. Yeah, Mm-hmm. He lost his law license. He was suspended, but then after his conviction, he is now disbarred, or he will be. I mean, it's a procedure, it's a procedure, but he will be. It's an automatic if you're convicted of a felony. Bye-bye. Ted Rollins. Rollin. All right. I think in song lyrics. Sorry, I can't help it. Okay.
Robert Tellis, the convicted killer, is speaking out from his from the jailhouse where he's being held now, just temporarily. He's going to be sent off to prison very soon. But right now he's in jail in Clark County, Nevada. And our Matt Johnson went down to the jail and was able to secure an interview with the now convicted killer. He is maintaining his innocence, saying this jury got it all wrong. He didn't kill anybody. He's not that kind of, he's a family man who would never be capable of this kind of crime. Let's pick up our interview. Matt Johnson, Robert Tellis, right where we left off.
Yes, Ted Rollins. I'm not really a fan of that tie with that blazer, but I didn't dress him. You know who is a fashionista, though? Zachary from the trial with a K.
Oh, and they were asking for those pieces of evidence.
I don't know. I was still hopeful, that they would see my innocence, but that was about it.
When the jury came back and we were all waiting, and then they asked you to stand at that defense table and they read the verdict, what went through your mind then?
Unfortunately, they got it wrong, and that it's time to continue on with my work and try to get home.
I know that you say that you believe that they got it wrong. Again, I want to circle back to how are you going to continue your investigation and to prove your innocence, since you really believe that, while behind bars, while in prison?
I'm going to become the best jailhouse lawyer of all time. Matt, that's how I'm going to do. Look at how Matt is not letting that phone anywhere near his ear. He's absolutely not touching that phone to his ear. It's almost like almost over here. Tellis doesn't care. He's got that thing right up against himself.
I think there are potentially a couple different ways, and we'll see whether or not they pan out. Currently, there's a lawsuit that between me and some of the folks in the office where I could potentially get some of the discovery that would connect some of the players, and then there.
Oh, you mean the 4 women who sued you in federal court and Clark County because of your toxic work environment and your age discrimination and your favoritism that you showed to your lover, Roberta, that you had backseat meetings with? You mean that litigation? Do you think that litigation is going to continue while you're in prison? Excellent. I can't wait for you to be deposed in that. That's fantastic that he wants that lawsuit to continue. All right. And he thinks it's going to work in his favor, actually. That's fantastic. He's got nothing but time.
There's a lawsuit that I've filed against certain officers that may net some of the information that I need.
You filed a lawsuit
we'll
too?
see about that particular lawsuit. I know they're going to try to dismiss it now with a conviction. But that again could take years by the time we get to the point where I can get anything to demonstrate more of what is going on here.
You were
Oh
convicted
man,
less
yeah,
than
you know, you filed a lawsuit against some officers. Your conviction is going to throw a wrench into that one, and probably will get dismissed. Mama She, thank you so much for the cash app. You're a sweetie. You're a sweet pea. Thank you. What does it say? Matt not trying to catch the killer cooties. Yes, that's what it is. The killer cooties. He's trying not to catch the killer cooties. I gotta find that lawsuit now. Now I'm on a mission. Now I'm on a mission from God. Telus versus officers. Probably either in Clark County or federal. I'll find it. I have Pacer. Nothing stops me.
48 hours ago. Why is it important for you to speak out now? You have not been sentenced yet. And if you're going to be asking for an appeal, anything you say right now can be used against you. You know that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and then again, obviously I'm here because, folks like yourself wanted to speak to me. And certainly, like I said, I'm innocent. And, if my standing up and continuing to declare my innocence is going to hurt my chances for an appeal, then so be it. But I should certainly hope not. I should hope that my declaring my innocence should not be, a reason for any judge to be punitive. For any judge to decide that they're going to put me away for longer, or they're going to deny my appeal. So we'll certainly see whether there is any kind of repercussion for me continuing to say that I'm innocent. And if it is, it's wrong.
And if it is, there it is. Everyone's out to get me. Just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean everybody's not out to get me. You could have declined to speak, right? Also, like, he's speaking because everyone like you want to talk to me. Like, are they putting money in his commissary? You think that's what it is? I think he's probably paid for this interview, right? I mean, they can pay him. There's nothing wrong with putting money in his commissary. I'd give him a couple hunch if he wanted to give me an interview. I'd even fly myself to Vegas. He needs money for candy. What else do they have in the commissary besides cigarettes and like deodorant and Rainbow on Rose? That's him. That's right, Jason.
We'll see.
How did the DNA get under the victim's fingernails, and that was your DNA?
That, again, I don't know, sir. Because then, like I said, I don't know that it was ever under his fingernails. I did not kill Mr. Gurman. I know that's what, they say that my DNA was under his nails, but I don't know how that may have occurred.
Why were the shoes cut up underneath your couch?
I don't know. I'm wondering the same thing. If supposedly I was the person who committed this crime, why not just throw those things away? It makes no sense to cut up shoes.
And the same would be, why cut up a hat? And why get rid of other items? According to prosecutors and according
Matt Space, why cut up a hat, dude? Like, you've shown us you're not that smart. You're not wicked smart. Some people are wicked smart. You're not so wicked smart. So, it's not so hard to believe that you would cut up those shoes, and maybe you didn't have time to get rid of it. And maybe you were upset with yourself and you're like, stupid, 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 as you're cutting it up. And then you cut your finger, but you really cut your finger making chicken fried rice for your daughter because she didn't like the school food. And then you got blood on the scissors when you cut the top off the super glue. He's got a whole lot of stories, but he can't explain the story about the shoes under the couch or the cutting up the hat. So let's hear that again, because that's really funny. And I'll not interrupt it. I'll try not to interrupt it this time.
Why were the shoes cut up underneath your couch?
I don't know. I'm wondering the same thing. If supposedly I was the person who committed this crime, why not just throw those things away? It makes no sense to cut up shoes.
And the same would be, why cut up a hat? And why get rid of other items? According to prosecutors and according to your conviction, this jury believes you killed Mr. Gehrman, you came home, you cut up the shoes, you cut up the hat, but then you got rid of other items, including the orange shirt, the pants, and the murder weapon. How did those items still get in your home if they're trying to frame you? Where is the murder weapon?
Yeah.
And again, so that just what you're saying makes no sense, right? I mean, if I were the killer and I got rid of some of the items, why wouldn't I get rid of all of the items at once? It makes no sense. And then on top of that, the alleged hiding places for these items, one was under my couch, and then another was an open toolbox. Again.
Yeah, that was stupid too, because you didn't think you were going to get caught, dude. You certainly didn't think you were going to get caught within 5 days of the murder, because you thought you were invincible because you've never had any ramifications for your behavior ever. Kev, see, that's funny, but it's a little bit off color, so I'm just going to delete it. Don't be offended. You're stupid. That's why. You're not smart. You didn't think you were going to get caught. You thought you were going to get away with it. You never in a million years thought they would get you in 5 days. Because what? You watched the Karen Reed trial and you thought, oh, these guys were not going to be able to come in and prove a locked up tight investigation. And they did. And they did. They had chain of custody. They had officers up there who were not under any kind of internal affairs investigation. Each witness was more beautiful than the next, competent, confident in their testimony. And that's why you put the stuff onto your couch, because you didn't think you could get caught within 5 days.
It just doesn't make any sense.
If you believe that the jury got it wrong and you are still innocent, what is your message to that jury then? They vested so much time and did their civil duty. What's your message to the jury?
Yeah, I appreciate that they felt they did their duty, but they got it wrong. But again, beyond that, there's not much else I can say. I'm focused on trying to prove my innocence and trying to get home.
Did you kill Jeff German?
I did not, sir. No.
So he raises his eyebrows like he
Yeah, and
really,
again,
really,
your
really wants you to
message.
believe it. He raises his eyebrows. I'm not a body language expert, but I watch some on TV. And they say that when the person raises their eyebrows, it's like they really, really want you to listen. So watch that again. Somebody said Behavior Panel did a story on him. Did a show on him the other day. I haven't seen it. Was it good?
Did you kill Jeff German?
Watch.
I did not, sir. No.
He shook his head.
Yeah, and again, your message to his family.
And I'm very sorry for their loss. We've all been through a lot with this situation. And I'm hoping that, that they too can, when they move on, and it's a horrible, horrible situation all around. We're all suffering.
Why did your team decide to go with the narrative versus you being asked questions on the stand? It appeared to me that the jury was never given an explanation for that. And that's what juries expect. They expect the defense team to ask questions. Why did you choose narrative?
Well, I chose a narrative style just because, again, I had so much to say that it would have been so difficult for us to get through it all if we were doing it in a question and answer form. Just like
No, because you wanted to control the narrative. You wanted to represent yourself. You did represent yourself for a long time during the pendency of this case. And boy, was that delicious when you did. And then you had a lawyer. And then what I think happened was your lawyer knows that ethically he cannot suborn perjury. So ethically, as your attorney, he's not allowed to ask you questions if he has a reason to think that you may lie. And so therefore, he may have gone to the judge, Judge Michelle Levitt. Well, she was the best judge ever that we've seen in a long time. And your attorney may have said to the judge, I don't know if this is true, but this is how I would handle an ethical dilemma such as this, the ethical pickle. Your Honor, I need to withdraw because my client wants to get on the stand. And I just, Your Honor, I can't. You can't withdraw, maybe, Mr. Draskovich, because maybe you can't withdraw because we're in the middle of trial and it's too late. It's highly prejudicial to the client. You can't do that. Well, Your Honor, then I'm going to have to ask for permission for him to be able to testify in a narrative fashion because, if I ask him questions and he doesn't tell the truth, I'm suborning perjury, and that's an ethical pickle for me. But now he's going to try and word salad his way out of it as to why he did it, because he had so much to say There's a song there somewhere. He had so much to say, and then I get distracted by the song. So much to say, so much to say, so much to say, so much to say. That he couldn't possibly, it would have taken a week if he got asked, if he was asked questions. That's crap. Hold on.
That it would have been so difficult for us to get through it all if we were doing it in a question and answer form. Just like in any, and again, I'm not testifying as an expert witness, but oftentimes when an expert witness testifies, they're given a question and they'll elaborate quite a bit on that one particular question. I had so many particular questions that I wanted to answer that for us to do it in a question and answer form would have just been so tedious. I think we would have lost the jury well before we got halfway through my testimony. So that's why it was. Newsflash,
boss baby, you did lose the jury. You lost the jury. You lost all of us with your word salad, confusing testimony, talking about things that you were going to talk about later that you never talked about later. It was a mess. It was a mishigas. It was a mess. It would have been much better if his attorney asked some questions. That is Dave Matthews. Thank you, Kiki Kazoo. A little Dave Matthews thing. Oh, I have a fired answer emoji from members in the chat. See this little thing? See this little Dave Matthews little oh, no, it's backwards, but there's a fired answer on here. You can't even see it really. Oh, do I have my Dave Matthews earrings on too? No, I have the other ones. Didn't you hear I went to Cancun with Alan Jackson? That was a big rumor that some idiot reporter, not a reporter, some idiot asked Alan Jackson once on camera. I forgot what I was saying, but I'm sure it was really important. I'll think of it again.
The narrative.
Is there anything that you wish you had said that you think could have changed your trial?
I think if perhaps I thought we made it clear that I was home when that SUV drove into my neighborhood. If it was not, maybe I wish I would have hammered on that more to just say, hey, look, I cannot be in two places at once. So
should have hammered on it, but hammered on you. That was a bad word choice. Should have hammered on it more. You should have proved it. You should have told. He never even said where he went on his walk, did he? I was there with you. We watched all the testimony. He never said where the walk was that he took. In his mind, if he was walking around Jeff Gehrman's neighborhood, he wasn't lying to the jury. He never said where his little walk was with his little gray moccasins. He didn't say where. I need to know.
Hammered on that more to just say, hey, look, I cannot be in two places at once. So you got to consider that. I was at home. So I think that would have been pretty definitive as far as, evidence goes that I'm innocent. But beyond that, I think we did what we could.
Prosecutors say that you were not home, that your cell phone was home, and that's the reason why your wife was wondering where you were.
If you recall, again, their own expert testified that at 8:50 a.m. I was using my phone, texting, and at 9, so at home at 8:50, texting, and then this SUV comes into my neighborhood at 9:10.
Okay, that's 20 minutes later, dude.
Shows
it's 20 minutes later. You could have been texting from anywhere. You could have went out to Dunkin' to get yourself, your morning Joe, and been driving back into your neighborhood or Jeff Gehrman's neighborhood or whatever word salad you're trying to spin now. It's a 20-minute swing. Okay?
Same. Like I said, that's what I needed to hammer on more, I think, and perhaps that got lost in all the shuffle of all this evidence, I think.
Is there any other evidence that you had hoped that the jury would see that you think could have changed the outcome?
I think a bit more of the evidence regarding motivations behind Detective Jappy's actions would have perhaps demonstrated that Detective Jappy was not just doing his job.
Okay, that was it. The feed cut off because the time was.
Oh, he had like a time limit. What's the time limit for prison phone calls? Anybody know? Hold on.
Would have perhaps demonstrated that Detective Jappy was not just doing his job.
Detective Jappy was not just doing his job. He's back to Jappy now.
Okay, that was it. The feed cut off because the time was limited from the jail. So that was it. The interview with Matt Johnson and Robert Tellis. He sticking to his story, saying that he didn't do it, saying the jury got it wrong, and
Wasn't
that he
me.
plans to appeal down.
It wasn't me. If you saw my Instagram story the other day, I had like the thumbnail to the verdict thing, and I had like Shaggy playing in the background. It wasn't me.
The line, acknowledging it's going to take several years to even maybe get some real ammunition for an eventual appeal. But Matt asked him, are you sure you want to do this? Because parole is based a lot on the conduct of the individual, and part of that is accepting and also
remorse.
Basically admitting it and saying you're sorry on different levels through actions and words. He is a long way from that, but he's also a long way from for his first parole hearing. Michael Jeffers watching, National Trial Attorney, Big Case Mike on a Friday.
Who knows that song? It's a long way to go home. Any which way you would happen to roam. It's a long way to go home.
Before the holiday weekend, no holidays coming for Mr. Tellis. He's heading to prison. What's your take on, I mean, it was more of the same from what we saw on the stand, really. Anything stand out to you of note from this defendant having gone through being found guilty?
Yeah, the way that the feed cut off is the perfect bookend to my analogy of this case, which is that of a Greek tragedy. Look how this ended. A person who loves to talk was cut off by the system.
Yep.
Reality finally caught up to him. He wanted to talk. That interview could have gone on for probably 17 hours. Matt Johnson would have been asleep, and Robert Tellis would have still been speaking his drivel about being innocent.
I can't believe Matt's not wearing gloves while he's touching that phone. Maya's like, be nice so you won't get an interview with him. I know, Maya. Thanks.
One of the things that stood out for me in that interview was how Matt Johnson asked him about his wife and his family, because all of us were wondering that same question. How was it that your family, so beautiful, so gorgeous, so loving, we found out about them after you were convicted? Matt Johnson asked a lot of really great questions about, hey, why did you do the narrative? Why did you do this? He didn't have a good answer for that. I know the answer. He just loves to talk. And he's, Oedipus from the Greek tragedy, the man who had it all and was determined to destroy it against all hell, right? So
against all odds.
Some of the things stood out for me in that interview that, this is who he is, right? He has a hole in his soul. He had it all. He literally had it all. And all he had to do was just enjoy it. But instead, he was determined to destroy it, right? We saw his family, crying. They were just as much as victims as, less so than the Germans, obviously, but they're victims as well. The daughter with diabetes, who he cares for every day, according to reports, he's been speaking to her every day, even while he's in jail. She needs you, man. Stay at home. Don't premeditatedly murder a reporter. I love how Matt Johnson asked him about, the text message from his wife, and I went for a walk. My God, it just killed me. Every time I look at this case, it kills me to think about how he had it all. He was a former public administrator in the most lucrative county in the country for that type of a position. He was the person who oversaw real estate sales for dilapidated properties, right? He was also a civil attorney. So after he lost his reelection, he could have just gone out to the private sector and made 7 figures, millions and millions of dollars.
Whoa.
I know of many law firms that would have just put him on their website and said, Jeff, Robert Tellis is part of our firm. We charge $1,500 an hour for his time. People would have lined up to hire Robert Tellis, but instead he bought this dumb, stupid orange jumpsuit and walked, and he drove his own car and he walked to the reporter's house and viciously stabbed them. That's not a person who's well put together. He's one of those people that 95% of the time he's a normal person, 5% of the time he's got a split personality. It's the only explanation I can have. I'm not a psychologist, but that's the only thing. That's how I rationalize it in my mind when I see people like this guy who destroy it all. Dude, join all the other civil attorneys in the country who would beg to trade places with your position in life as a former public administrator. So
not me.
The whole thing just struck.
You'd have to take a major pay cut to become the public administrator if you're a civil attorney, by the way. But up until that point, I did agree with him. How mad do you think Boss Baby's going to be if he sees the rest of this interview. And this guy's like, you could have made millions of dollars. Anybody would have hired you, put you on their roster. And no, you had to go out and buy a stupid orange jumpsuit. Oh, Boss Baby's getting upset now, I bet.
One more thing, Ted, I want to say, I really love this jury. They did their job and they did right by the justice system. So that's something I had to say.
They took their time, that's for sure. And, you know, we're all a little shocked in the closing and seeing the image with the hair. They mulled it over, they weighed the evidence, and they came back with their verdict and their sentence recommendation. Michael, stand by. We'll get a break. We're going to check in with Matt Johnson, who just returned.
Oh, we got to get to the Matt Johnson part. Against All Odds is an excellent Phil Collins song. I was thinking about that, but I did not want to make your ears bleed a second time with my creaky voice. Thank you, Gina, for your super chat. It says, thank you so much. Thanking me. I'm thanking you. Thanking you right back. Okay, here we go.
Jury got it wrong. He is not responsible for Jeff Garman's murder. Matt Johnson is joining us now from Las Vegas, across the street from the jail. We're back at the courthouse. Matt, great job on the interview. People online are saying what a great job you did. And it's fascinating to me that he is really hanging on to this. I love your first question because it really put him in an awkward position to talk about Garman's family, and he felt a little thrown by that, and was giving maybe the rehearsed answer for that he'd had in his head. Oh, I feel sorry for them, but he seemed a bit off guard, which was great. And then all of the follow-ups were, did anything stand out to you that maybe we didn't see in terms of the environment of the jail or him or anything, him walking?
Yeah, that phone was really like the bed haven of germs, man. I did not want that phone touching me at all.
Anything stand out to you that maybe we couldn't pick up on the video there from your vantage point interviewing Tellis?
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting to do an interview with an inmate over at the Clark County Detention Center, which is across the street from the jail that he was, or this courthouse where he was convicted less than 48 hours ago. Like, just that in itself is mind-boggling. But
he picked you, Matt.
Being in that environment, you're in a very small cubicle. You're not face-to-face. You're not facing him on the other side of a glass. He isn't brought down and shackled in front of you. He's on a monitor, and it's a different experience there, and they're timing you. So you have to get in your questions very quickly. And we started with what I wanted to hear about the most, which is the victim in this case, because not once during this 8-day of testimony, this 3-week trial, did he ever look over at the victim's family that were there each and every day in this courthouse, in that courtroom, looking at him. When he was on the stand, he never looked at them. He never addressed the victim. He never addressed the loss of life. If you believe that you're innocent of a crime, you can still say that you are very sorry that someone died and that you want justice for that person. Never once have I ever heard him say that, and he still kind of tap dances around that answer in my interview with him just a few moments ago, Ted.
Yeah, he sure did. And the other part of the equation, I love that you brought up to him. He knows this very well as an attorney. His only chance of seeing the light of day is to say, I did it. I'm sorry. I've rehabilitated 20-some years from now. And he's doing this before he's even sentenced. And a judge can depart upward. He seems oblivious to it. And you wonder if he wants his family to still somehow believe that he didn't do it. But you were there during the sentencing. And
if the judge goes with an upward modification, I think we have Matt Johnson to thank for that. Matt's the one who got the interview. That got him to say, I'm still not sorry. I still don't think I did it. He's not taking responsibility. He's showing no remorse, not even any compassion for the family. It was all about him, that interview.
To me, it felt like the family knew he did it. Like that they were asking for leniency and for an opportunity for parole down the line. But it sure came across that they acknowledged and they accepted the jury's verdict. I don't know about you, but what was your take in terms of that and the idea that he's still now saying he didn't do it?
I think that we were all looking at each other when we're seeing the family for the first time, the wife, the ex-wife, and then the mother take the stand. She flew in from Texas where he had grown up. And, they're pleading for leniency. And it was what they didn't say, because not one person except the mother took acceptance of this whole trial process and that he was convicted. They never said anything about the victim, the victim's family. And again, it was just self-serving. And he was breaking down in tears when he was hearing his mom talk about him being a family man. And that's why I was pressing him on that issue in this interview, because I didn't see his family there at court. Usually when someone is wrongfully accused in their eyes, the family sticks behind the person. But in this—
Can you say Hilaria? Hilaria Baldwin. She was right there every day, standing behind her man out there in New Mexico. When Alec Baldwin was on trial, she was right there. She was telling him what to do. She was giving him little hand signals. Turn around. She was there to hug him when they dismissed the charges against him. No matter what you think about Alec Baldwin, that was the right decision by that judge, in my opinion.
this case, we didn't see that. We didn't see them mention that when they were giving their mitigation answers to this jury before the sentencing recommendation. We didn't see any of that. And that in itself was also very telling, I think, for a lot of people, Ted.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. He didn't want his family there because if they would have attended trial every day, they would have said, oh boy, he did it. There's overwhelming evidence. The DNA under the nails, I mean, he just doesn't have an answer for it. And it's almost like, yeah, I'm mad too. You think you guys are upset by the deal. Look, I'm upset by this too. But no, I mean, it's what he's alleging, this conspiracy is so detailed and hits so many different. It's not just Compass Realty. They're not able to plant DNA. And it's funny that's the one thing on the stand. And then again, when you asked him, he just doesn't have an answer.
He just talks in a circle. And I was sitting there in front of him, in front of that monitor, asking him questions. And I felt like I was listening to his narrative that when he was on the stand. It's everybody but him that is at fault of this. People are planting evidence against him. It's the Realty Group. It's the realtors. It is the police department. It is the district attorney. He has this wide conspiracy theory, and there is no facts to back it up. He just talks in a circle that he is innocent, that he is being framed, and that the jury got it wrong, which I really find very insulting for someone. He had a law degree at one point in time. He's supposed to respect the system, and clearly he doesn't.
Yeah, and as Michael Jaffer was pointing out, he had it all. He had a great job, and he was an elected official. He was able to practice law in Las Vegas. Yeah, he lost his election, but that didn't mean he lost his ability to make a good living and have a family. You were there for a very long period of time, and I know you have roots there, so you understand Vegas as being this small town rather than this massive area that we all think it is when we head to the casino for a long weekend and forget half of it. But what effect did all of this have? I know you've talked about it a little bit before on the community, because this was a guy that was in the papers before he was a defendant. He was an elected official and part of this community.
I have the juror interview. Thanks, Lori. I pulled it up, so we're going to watch that next.
Yeah, I love the juxtaposition that you're bringing up here, because you have this defendant, now convicted killer. And I loved how the prosecutors brought it up in their rebuttal closing. They said no one knew what a county administrator was before this case even came about. No one was doing an investigation until the allegations of a hostile work environment came forward. And then you have this journalist, this investigative journalist working for the major newspaper in this small town, who is also really well known for his work with uncovering investigations with the mob and with casinos and a lot of investigative work. So you have this beloved person in the community that was also, doing local sports. He would be very active in other ways. And it is a small town. Everybody knows everybody else. So this was a really big deal when Jeff German was murdered 2 years ago. And we're approaching the anniversary of that, because remember, that happened September 2nd, 2022. That was the heart of Labor Day weekend. And then you have this murder and no one could figure out why he was attacked and who did it. And it was a call to arms, call to action. And then you had everyone in these communities really worried for their own safety that this killer is out on the loose. So there was a lot to this story as it was unfolding. And when you think about, well, you know, Las Vegas seems like a big city when you visit. If you were to remove the casinos, there is no city skyline. It's one county, Clark County, that is all of Las Vegas and the surrounding areas. It's a small town.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, you know, that's a massive skyline. But yeah, you move that out of the way, and there it is. So great job, Matt Johnson, with the interview of Robert.
All right, that's the end of that. Let's check out this juror interview on 8 News Now. I was in Vegas a couple weeks ago, you know, as you know, for the Dead and Company shows at the Sphere, and I still can't get the cigarette smoke smell out of my hair. Okay, and I was staying in a really nice hotel. But every time I got off the elevator and walked into the casino, because you got to walk through the casino to get out of the hotel, this cigarette smoke is I would choke on it. I don't know. I'm not very tolerant to that kind of smoke. Maybe the wind doesn't have the greatest ventilation. I don't know, but it was horrible. All right, here we go. Let's listen to this. It's only a 3-minute piece, and this is supposed to be a juror interview.
Vanessa, thank you for that. Now, Tellis spoke at length about that jury decision and how he says the jury in his murder trial got it wrong.
And tonight, 8 News Now investigator Kyle Payne has the first public interview with one of those jurors who says she and those 11 other jurors got it right. Kyle, what else did that juror say?
Right, Ozzy, one of the big things we're learning from this juror, at some point, the jury wrote a note telling the judge they were deadlocked. One juror wanted to acquit Robert Tellis, but as we know, they all ended up voting guilty.
Wow, there was a holdout.
Robert-
There was a holdout for not guilty. Look at this. Okay, we're only seeing the back of the shoulder of this person, so that's good. Keep their identity under wraps, but that's crazy.
Tellis got a fair trial.
He did, without a doubt. And the fact that he was allowed to do a narrative as a testimony makes it even more so that he received a fair trial.
Robert Tellis murder trial, juror number 6, asking the 8 News Now investigators not to use her name or show her face, preferring instead to let her 2.5 weeks of jury service do the talking.
I didn't kill Mr. Gurman.
Just like Tellis did for 3 days on the stand, explaining his theory that he was framed and making this assertion.
When the medical examiner testified, that's the first time I'd learned how Mr. Gurman was murdered.
Which juror number 6 simply couldn't believe.
Blatant lie.
But Tellis was convincing enough, perhaps, on the stand, and his defense attorney, Robert Draskevich, persuasive enough.
Metro makes mistakes.
That when the jury of 5 men and 7 women took its very first vote behind closed doors, 7 had Tellis guilty and 1 was absolutely certain of it. 4 were undecided and 1 thought Tellis was not guilty.
I was keeping an open mind. I had not made a decision.
Wow, I got to see that breakdown again because I was reading the chat. Hold on. Okay, so when they took their first vote, 6. Okay, so remember this is a 12-person jury, unlike in Ashley Benefield, that was only a 6-person jury in Florida because it wasn't a capital case. 6 said he was guilty. 1 said he was very guilty. 4 were undecided, and 1 was not guilty. Wow. Guess they did like a straw man vote.
Thought Tellis was not guilty.
I was keeping an open mind. I had not made a decision. At that point, based upon the testimony and evidence that had been presented, if I were to vote at that time, it would have been for guilty.
Then, as they reviewed the evidence and looked at this photo of someone in the murderer's dark red SUV,
look at the profile,
and saw a man that didn't look like Tellis because this driver had hair, they realized that hair was a shadow, and the vote changed. Now, 8 jurors thought Tellis was guilty, and 4 not guilty.
He thought that he...
Wait, 4? That it went from 1 not guilty to 4 not guilty after that, even though they realized it was a shadow? That's no wonder it took 3 days, you guys. They really talked about it. They really tried to convince each other. The people who were guilty were like, you guys, what are you, nuts? Like, wow. At one time during deliberations, there was at least 4 who thought he was not guilty.
He was smarter than everyone else. And so if he did all these things, no one would be able to point the finger of blame at him.
Another deep dive into the evidence, and this jury got closer to guilt, voting 10-2 to send Tellis to prison, which eventually all 12 agreed to do.
Went from 1 to 4 to 2 to unanimous for not guilty. I mean, for unanimous for guilty, unanimous. Wow. This jury worked their butts off. Wow.
Scientific evidence to make their verdict.
The evidence was not wrong. Our decision was based upon the evidence presented. He didn't question the evidence. He questioned the motive behind the evidence. Was that he was being set up. But when your DNA is under the victim's fingernails, that's a clear signal as well.
Juror number 6 tells me they were split on whether to sentence Tellis to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But then Tellis's mother testified, saying she accepted the jury's verdict, but asked that he have a chance to see his children again. That convinced.
Wow. So they were split on life without parole until his mother testified. Boy, does he owe mommy a lot of letters and phone calls after that. She was what swung them the other way to letting him have an opportunity at parole.
The jury to give Tellis the opportunity to one day see the light of day, Ozzy.
See the light of day until mama tried, and mama tried, and she did it for him. That is crazy. Wow. That was a great interview. Thank you so much for Lori for pointing that out to me. That is crazy. I want to know when this. I'm just going to look at when they published this thing. Oh, only 48 minutes ago. Lori, you're on top of this. This is 48 minutes ago. You guys, we're on top of this. Lori's on top of it. You just saw it here first. It only has 162 views, and one of them was all of us. Wow. Thank you, Lori. A-Rod says, I'm super late, but I'm here for it. A-Rod, I just want to know, are you upset about J-Lo and Ben Affleck splitting up? Do you think you dodged a bullet on that one, A-Rod? What do you think? Between you and me. Just wondering. JW. I had some other comments here that I starred. Rachel Ann says, I have OCD. A messy house would make me cry. It might irritate and anger me, though. But what if you were on trial for murder and then you saw those pictures? Then would it make you cry? Would that tip the scales in a certain direction? MD says, I'm surprised the Innocence Project is banging on his cell door already. You mean is or isn't? Because if the Innocence Project is involved in this, I'm going to be really surprised. Which is it? John says, Tellis's dad was also a public official. He got caught up in a bribery scheme and lost his job too. Well, I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? Isn't that what they say? But he became the man of the house when he was 13. So I kind of thought like his dad was out of the picture. Did he maintain a relationship with his dad? I have questions. Karina. That also that's a Grateful Dead song too, Karina, or a Bob Weir song, Groundhog. Had my gallbladder removed today, and I can't believe I'm lucky enough to catch a live with beautiful. I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm sorry you had to have your gallbladder removed, but they say you don't really need it anyway. I don't think, but it is the best way to recuperate. Sending you all the healing vibes, Karina. All the healing vibes coming your way. Everyone, wish Karina some healing vibes as she is on her journey from gallbladder surgery, and so happy that she could be here with us. A-Rod is a mess himself, right? Yeah, the Innocence Project is involved with Scott Peterson. I don't know. Yeah, who is his dad? I don't know. I thought the dad was violent too. Isn't that what the mom said? I don't really know. Right. He was spared life for the sake of his children and because of the mom's testimony. Papa Smurf and the OG. Papa Smurf, the OG, where you been, yo? I followed the 3-week trial. Well, you didn't follow it here, though. Who were you cheating on me with? Happy that the jury did the right thing. R.I.P. Mr. Gehrman. Justice has been served. It has. It has. We were nervous, and we had reason to be nervous because after we just saw that interview with juror number 6, at first there was one person who thought he was not guilty. Then it was 4 for not guilty. Then it was 2, and then finally 0. Terry's like, dang, I barely even followed this trial, and I'm still shocked at those splits. How it went from 1 not guilty to 4 is baffling. Yeah, because of that photo with the hair, I think. Crazy. Really crazy. That's right, Jason. I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried. That is a Grateful Dead song, although I don't think they wrote it. I think they covered it, right? All right. We are into this for an hour and 40 minutes, and you guys are amazing, and my moderators are amazing. Thank you guys for coming back after I did that show earlier. Very, very, very sad story about Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matt Gaudreau, who were tragically killed last night in a drunk driving accident while they were riding bikes on the eve of their sister's wedding. They were both supposed to be groomsmen today. Johnny Gaudreau was an NHL player who had a very long and storied career. He was only 31. His brother Matt was only 29, and they both left wives. Johnny leaves 2 young children, and Matt's wife is expecting, and it is tragic. If you didn't watch that show and you're interested, go back and watch it, please. And hit the likes, hit the thumbs up for this one. D says a reporter from News 3 in Nevada did an interview with him too. Tellis made the comment that he had read newspapers about a recent case where the police planted evidence. You're right, Mel, when you said he had heard about Karen Reed. What? That's insane. That is insane. See, that must have given him the idea. It's a different interview. I can see if I can see how long it is. It's 18 minutes. Do you guys want to watch it? Do you guys have 18 minutes in you? Thank you, D. It's 18 minutes. I can send you to go watch it on your own if you want. I can give you the link. It was only posted 8 hours ago, so it's like hot off the press. Yes, yes. Ashley says yes. Bees on Mars says yes. I got 18 minutes in me. Let's do it. See if he says anything in it. If he says anything different in this interview than he said to Matt Johnson. This is from News 3 Las Vegas. Thank you, DK, for coming in with the deets on the sitch, because this is going to be interesting if he starts talking about what we think is Karen Reed. I got time. This is you guys and me on a Friday night. Cold beers on a Friday night. That's a song. News 3 Las Vegas. Jailhouse interview. Convicted killer Robert Tellis. Here we go.
Did you agree to do this interview with us today?
Well, again, I understand that folks had a lot of questions, I'm sure, still after the trial. So I wanted to be sure to answer those questions. I think especially a lot of folks are wondering, you know.
All right, the audio is not great. It's only coming in through my left ear. So I'm going to move away from the mic. You may have to turn up the sound on your end, okay?
If I'm innocent, or you know, if I still maintain my innocence, and yes, I am innocent, despite the verdict.
So we understood yesterday they were holding you in a special suicide cell. Is this true?
Suicide cell.
It's true, but it was not out of any concern that I could see. So,
Dude, we heard all about how you tried to kill yourself in the bathtub. You were stuck in the bathtub when the SWAT team came in. Detective Jappy talked you down, and you're still blaming Jappy for framing you. And now you're going to say there's no concern about you. You're in a suicide room, but there's really no concern for you. Come on, dude.
After the verdict came, and I prepared my family. We talked about it, and I said, you know, if I, you know, I believe I proved my innocence to the jury, but if for some reason things don't go the way we hoped, don't worry. I've got, you know, I'm working on appeals, and I believe I'll be out in you know, maybe 4 or 5 years, 3, 4, 5 years. So don't worry, we're going to be okay. And I conveyed that to the folks that were returning me to my cell. And despite that, they decided I needed to go into a suicide watch. The psychiatrist had come and seen me, and she said that, you know, she had no concern.
He's talking to the camera guy. He's like, can you come in closer? I'm hearing like some weird like sound effects. I thought it was coming from outside my door. in the hallway, and it's like I heard like a glass break. Hold on, this is weird. There's weird sound effects, and he's telling the cameraman to come closer. Hold on. Okay. So if you're hearing like weird sound effects and things breaking, it's coming from this feed. It's not in your house thing. There's no intruder in the other room in your house.
And despite that, they decided I needed to go into a suicide watch. The psychiatrist had come and seen me, and she said that, you know, she had no concern for me and any suicide risk or anything. Yet still they decided to throw me into that room. And it's a room where they strip you down naked. It's a cold room. It's windowless. The lights are on 24 hours a day. And they give you a cargo blanket, and there's no form of entertainment, nothing to do. You've got to just stare at the walls.
Okay, so we know he doesn't like being cold because he still complains about that paper suit and how cold it was. And there's nothing to do except stare at the wall. You're in jail, dude. You're gonna be shipping off to prison after you're sentenced. So get used to it, dude. There's no TV. He's mad there's no TV. It's coming from inside the house, man. Marsha, it really freaked me out. If you have earbuds in, you can hear it more, and it really makes you think like it's coming from inside the house. I'm freaking out. Let me take that back. Okay.
Lights are on 24 hours a day. And they give you a cargo blanket, and there's no form of entertainment, nothing to do. You've got to just stare at the walls. I don't believe I did anything to justify putting me in that situation, but it is what it is. They did that for a day.
Killed somebody.
Are you
So as far as any concern about hurting myself, no, there is none. I'm ready to continue fighting and to, you know, continue telling my story and to get home.
What are your feelings about Jeff Garman? What's your opinion of Jeff Garman?
You know, he didn't deserve to die. You know, I was not necessarily a fan because, you know, the articles, but, you know, that's it. You know, I don't know what else to say about it. You know, there's certainly not enough, you know, anger there to kill somebody.
How do you feel about Jeff Garman's murder?
I think it's crazy. You know, again, it's blown my mind for the longest time. And I do think there are a lot of people who are upset about it. You know, I'm upset from the standpoint that it's been pinned on me, and here I am. I'm going to suffer. But I know
Pinned on me. I'm going to suffer.
great contributions to the community, and we heard about that. So, you know, I'm sure there are really a lot of people who are, you know, who are upset and perhaps think that my conviction is some way to, I don't know, I guess is good for his memory, but again, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I didn't kill him, and it's unfortunate that he was killed.
This interview is even better than the last one. This is better. He's bored in jail. How dare they? How dare they put him where it's cold and he has nothing to do but look at the walls? Yeah, I suppose my conviction was good for them. Good for the family, but it is what it is.
Do you have any message for Jeff Garman's family?
You know, I am sorry for their loss. You know, it sounds like he was a wonderful uncle and a great brother. And, you know, and again, like I said, the kind of person that I am, I can really appreciate the wonderful things that he did for his family.
So if you didn't murder Jeff Garman, who did?
I don't know. Again, I've said who I believe it is, and their motivations. These folks certainly have, if they weren't responsible, they certainly gained a pretty nice windfall from it all. Not, you know, after all my investigations got basically thrown to the wayside. You know, I'm here and they continue on without.
All my investigations got thrown to the wayside. I did all of this work. My investigations got thrown to the wayside. They didn't even appreciate my investigations that I did on Compass Realty. Melanie Schuyler, thank you so much. I did miss your comment because, if I talk and then I look at the chat, you've seen it happen a couple of times tonight. I lose my train of thought and then I just ramble off into nowhere. So this is unbelievable.
Criminal repercussions. So I believe that they are responsible, but I am not. I did not kill Mr. German.
So when you took to the stand a week ago, you said you thought Compass Realty, somebody that you had tried to expose because of their practices, you think Compass Realty might be behind the murder of Jeff German?
Yes. So again, yes. And if you look at their activities when I testified, that it was
He's so insulted. He's like, did you not listen to any of my testimony before coming in here for your Jailhouse interview? Did you not prep for this interview? Were you not there? Why did I decide to give this dumb guy an interview? Should have said Melanie Little can come interview me. At least she watched the trial. She remembers what I testified to. You don't even know.
It started with just trying to threaten with lawsuits. Then it came to approaching the county, and then it came to disparaging me in court pleadings. Then it came to the point where they decided to run their own candidate in the race for my seat. One of their own real estate agents, a Compass Realty real estate agent, was running for the office as a nonpartisan candidate. And then they decided to back Rita Reed. 2 weeks before Mr. German's first article, Rita Reed received a $10,000 donation between Adam Fenn, one of their realtors, and Compass Realty themselves. And of course, that's 2 weeks later that this article comes out. And then thereafter, these funds appear to go to the text messaging campaign that ultimately results in my loss.
The text messaging campaign. They donated $10,000 to her campaign. It was a text messaging campaign, and that's why you lost. No, I think you lost because you were indicted for murder of a local reporter. That might be why you lost the election. Or wait, he lost the election before the murder? But that gives you motive to commit the murder. Okay, so Compass Realty donated like 10 grand to Rita Reed's campaign. They had a text message campaign. That's why he lost. Okay, got it.
Compass Realty. I went ahead and went to court. There was a video that the jury got to watch that showed that, again, I was not lying down. I was not checked out. This wasn't the end as far as my term goes. So about, again, a few days before Mr. German was murdered, I got an order entered that was going to give me the investigative powers to do what should have been done with these investigations. And again,
Somebody was going to give you some powers. Now he's a superhero. I was about to be. What happened was, I was about to get some powers, and I was going to be a superhero. And then they framed me. And I should be able to just make myself invisible right now and get out of here, but I can't because I wasn't able to get my powers because, the hat and the shoes.
I think this is just the next logical step. And at the end of the day, when we look at it, again, they're not going to suffer any criminal repercussions. They're not going to suffer any loss of their license or anything because my credibility is shot.
And do you hear like the hidden anger? I have to face you repercussions and I have to lose my license, but they don't.
So it's your contention that a local realty company hired a hitman to murder Jeff German and then plant evidence at your house. And you said you couldn't even clear the district attorney, Steve Wolfson, in this conspiracy. Is that your contention?
No, I didn't say that he was involved in the conspiracy to murder. I mentioned the fact that when Detective Jappy had found criminal concerns that he conveyed to me, and this is again about a week or two after DA Wolfson introduced me to Detective Jappy, that a week after that, DA Wolfson received a donation from one of the Compass Realty real estate agents.
Wolfson is in on it too. Do you remember the DA daddy that was in the courtroom, you guys? Loved that Steve Wilson. You were calling him Silver Fox. He's in on the conspiracy too because they donated money to him. Compass Realty did.
And this is after, again, Detective Jappy had mentioned property from inside the home and the vehicles of the decedents. That, again, a week later, Steve Wolfson received a donation, and now fast forward, there's no criminal wrongdoing whatsoever.
Dude, you're bad mouthing the DA who's currently in office, and you're sitting in prison. Like, so much for the pardon. Stupid. Oh, would you love to be a fly on Taraskovich's office wall today when this thing dropped on YouTube 8 hours ago? I mean, if he even still represents him, or if he was like, dude, peace out. You're on your own for the appeals. Hire somebody else. I'm out of here. Don't forget Paris Hilton. She's involved too.
Watch the trial. You saw that I showed that, in one of these homes, we were able to prove that the carpeting, all the flooring was in the home, the kitchen was in the home before Compass Realty got a hold of it. But then, just before the sale to one of their partners, the flooring is ripped out, the kitchen is ripped out. If devaluing a home like that is not criminal conduct, then I can't believe, I can't imagine what is at this point.
Well, killing somebody is. Killing somebody is actually criminal conduct. Hold on a second. When the kitchen is ripped out, devaluing a home, if that's not criminal conduct, I can't imagine what is. The delusion is mind-numbing.
Kitchen is ripped out. If devaluing a home like that is not criminal conduct, then I can't believe, I can't imagine what is at this point. But and if you'd ask the families that were cheated by Compass Realty over and over again, whether or not they think that they just suffered from a loophole, I think they're going to say otherwise. I think they're going to believe, they're going to agree that this is criminal conduct.
Yeah, no. Auntie Ree, this is a different interview. This is an interview on Las Vegas 3. You might have premiered the one on Court TV. This is just from today. It only has this one has 17,000 views, but we just watched a juror interview that only had 185 views that just came out. So if you didn't watch that, scroll back. But I don't know if you saw this one on Channel 3. Court TV.
I just want to make sure I understand your contention here. What you're alleging is that a local realty company hired a hitman to kill Jeff Garriman and plant evidence at your house. Is that what you're saying?
This is my belief, yes.
But you had 12 members of a jury who didn't believe you, who think you're a liar. So
they think you're a liar. They think you're a liar, but after he watches that juror interview that we just saw, he's going to be like, I had 4. At one point during deliberations, I had 4 of them thinking I was not guilty, so I didn't do such a bad job. It's like, the jury thinks you're a liar. I got to get an interview with this guy. I mean, I got to get one.
12 members of a jury who didn't believe you, who think you're a liar. So the jury is wrong?
So, again, you may recall, like during that day, at 8:50, they made a big deal out of the fact that I'd sent a text message exchange between me and my daughter at 8:50 from my home. And if you watch and you see testimony, you hear that at 9:10, this SUV pulls into my neighborhood. I'm at home at the time. This SUV pulls into my neighborhood and then 2 minutes later pulls out of my neighborhood. So that was not my SUV. That was not me. I was at home when that killer pulled into my neighborhood.
I understand this, but the jury heard all the evidence. The jury heard all the evidence. They got it wrong. 12 people in our community, 12 people heard all of the evidence, including what you had to say, and said you're guilty.
You're a liar.
They got it wrong. Yes, sir.
They got it wrong.
Okay, there's one bit of evidence. I think the most damning bit of evidence is your DNA was found under Jeff Garriman's fingernails. How?
Explain that one.
Again, I don't know that it was ever there to begin with. And,
Are you saying that that was a setup? That they planted your DNA under Jeff Garriman's fingernails?
Listen.
How it got planted, I'm not sure, but I'll tell you this. That oftentimes.
So the conspiracy goes all the way to these forensic people at Metro? That's how far the conspiracy goes?
So basically, again, I'm not talking about a single conspiracy here. As you no. Oftentimes, police will, again, plug holes in a case. I've read it, and you've got to imagine, I've had a lot of time here. And I've researched and I've found cases where evidence is planted, even DNA evidence is planted. Here in Clark County.
Why would Metro detectives plant evidence against you? Why would they care about pinning the murder on you?
Wait, he said I researched cases where they planted evidence. Remember, he tried to talk about that on the stand. I researched cases, and then like he starts going on about, some case that he read about, and he starts talking about the facts, and they're like, yeah, no. So he didn't really say I watched a case. Like I thought he was going to be a little bit more specific about Karen Reed, but let's listen. I've read.
I've had a lot of time here.
Had a lot of time here.
Researched and I've found cases where evidence is planted, even DNA evidence is planted. Here in Clark County.
Why would Metro detectives plant evidence against you? Why would they care about pinning the murder on you?
As I said before, Detective Jappy wanted to basically, he wanted to take me down. So, and the other folks just lined up because it was their duty.
So Compass Realty, Detective Jappy, all of these people are involved in this conspiracy against you.
Again, sir, like I said, you're creating one conspiracy out of all the different actions. And what I'm saying is, it doesn't take for all these people to knowingly be involved in Mr. Gervin's murder. It's just a couple of individuals taking advantage of the various working parts of the system. So, and you can repeat it that way, but I'm not going to say that there was one mass conspiracy where all these people knew about the murder. No.
But wouldn't there have to be for?
I want to make that clear, especially to the audience.
He's an over talker. He talks right over him. He's like, I am more important than you. I'm going to talk right over you. At least I pause when I talk over you, boss baby. Listen to that again.
It's just a couple of individuals taking advantage of the various working parts of the system. So, again, you can repeat it that way, but I'm not going to say that there was one mass conspiracy where all these people knew about the murder. No.
But wouldn't there have to be for?
I want to make that clear, especially to the audience, that despite what you're saying, that's not what I'm saying.
But wouldn't that have to be true that there was a mass conspiracy for them to plant all this evidence against you, for them to hire a hitman and try to pin it on you? It sounds like a vast conspiracy in your head.
No, sir. No, again, like I said, you're conflating the issues. There's the one component where it's basically Compass Realty and Detective Jappy. And like I said, oftentimes when one officer needs help, just plugging holes in their case because they think that that's what they need to do, other officers will do what they have to. And like I said, I've seen numerous cases. I'm sure you've heard stories as well yourself. But so it is what it is, and folks can believe me. They cannot, but I'm innocent. Period.
So you've never really been in any major trouble in your life. What is life behind bars like for a person like you?
Uh-oh.
It really started off as a nightmare, especially when I told you about that, when you asked me about that suicide watch question. When I first got here, they decided to throw me in there for 8 days. I was cleared of, it was supposed to be a 72-hour hold, and before the 72 hours, they did clear me, but, it was decided I'd still sit in here for another 5 days, or in that particular situation. But so it started off very rough. I guess that humans, we end up becoming accustomed to whatever comes our way sooner or later, and so I've become accustomed to it. I don't like it. I want to be with my family. I love my family, but I'm fighting, and I'm going to continue fighting. I'm going to, I believe I'm going to win my appeal, and I'm going to get home and get back to my family.
So you're 47 now. You're, according to the sentence, going to spend at least 20 years behind bars. That puts you at 67 before you'd be eligible for parole. What about the thought of spending the rest of your life behind bars? What's that like?
And again, life is short, and
YOLO, dude.
all this craziness that's occurred now. I mean, I think, and again, I did try to take my life at that one point because they'd broken me, the police that day. But
They broke you?
I am now of the mindset that I'm going to live life, try to tell my story, and try to fight to get back home. And so, with respect to how many years it takes, if I don't succeed, then so be it. I'll just try to make the best of life because, as far as I know, we've only got one.
So on the
You've only got one,
stand,
as far
you
as he
did
knows, you've
admit to
only, as
having
far
an
as I know,
affair.
you've only got one life. Okay, so you don't believe in reincarnation. We've learned that about you. And now he's going to say you did admit to having an affair. Oh, this is the best. We got to find out who this reporter is because we all have to go follow him on whatever social he's on and tell him how amazing this interview is.
If I don't succeed, then so be it. I'll just try to make the best of life because, as far as I know, we've only got one.
So on the witness stand, you did admit to having an affair with one of your staffers, something that you denied for a long, long time. You lied about it. You admitted you lied about it. Doesn't that make you a liar?
I testified truthfully on the stand, and so you can decide what you want about that. And as I mentioned before, I felt it was a private. Well, I didn't say it was a private matter, but I think that should be implied when I say I wanted to protect our families. This is just when I lied. It was I just didn't want our families to go through more grief because it seems like that was the sensational, salacious part of this whole thing that people enjoyed hearing about. And
Well, you think that's the most salacious part about this? That you were jumping in the back seat with your lover? Your lover. With the goat meat. The goat meat in the hot tub. Do you remember that? Do you remember that from SNL, those skits with Rachel Dratch and Will Ferrell? I was with my lover in the hot tub with the goat meat dripping down my face. It's not the right accent, but you know what I mean. If you know, you know. People enjoyed hearing about that, about your backseat meetings. That's not the most salacious part about this story, sir.
I just don't know that it was. I don't think it was necessarily wrong to want to protect my family and the family of that person. But I mean, you all can decide what you want about it. But that was my motivation, and I don't think all people would begrudge me trying to protect our families from further misery from people repeating this over and over again.
The jury did hear you testify in your own words. You were able to tell your story for over an hour, and they didn't believe you. The jury thinks you're a liar.
They can think I'm a liar if they want. Certainly, that's their choice. And what am I going to do about it? It's, again, when we just move forward.
Why did you have scores of? Why did you have scores of? This is going to end in 2 minutes. Why did you have scores of pictures of Jeff Garriman's house on your devices?
Yeah.
Why?
Blame that boss, baby.
I did not.
They found him.
I did not. So they say, but I know I did not. Those things don't even make sense. As I testified.
So they're lying about.
Deny till you die. That's his motto. Deny the lovers, right? The lovers. My lover and I. My lover. Deny till you die. He's going to deny that he put those pictures of Garriman's house on his phone. Wow.
But I know I did not. Those things don't even make sense. As I testified.
So they're lying about that?
Someone is, yes. But again, like I said, those items just they don't make sense from any standpoint.
Great point.
People want to know where the murder weapon is. Where's the murder weapon?
I have no idea because I did not kill Mr. Garman.
And then the red Denali. They see the red Denali, maroon Denali, in front of Jeff Garriman's house. They believe that's the vehicle that the murderer drove, and it just by happenstance, your family has a maroon Denali.
Crazy, right?
I don't think it's by happenstance that the killer had a similar maroon Denali at all. And again, during testimony by everybody, there was supposedly this camera that was right across the street that was pictured in Google Maps. If that was me and I saw there was a camera right across the street, again, I would not want to commit any kind of act where I didn't want to get caught on camera when I knew there was a camera directly across the street. So I think that too just speaks to the fact that I didn't do this,
Wait, Wait a second. How did you know there was a camera directly across the street? Because you went into Google Maps and you searched the house across the street and you knew there were cameras. Hold on a second. He really didn't just say that, did he? I knew there was a camera right across. Did he really just say I knew there was a camera right across the street? Hold on.
During testimony by everybody, that there was supposedly this camera that was right across the street that was pictured in Google Maps. If that was me and I saw there was a camera right across the street, again, I would not want to commit any kind of act where I didn't want to get caught on camera when I knew there was a camera directly across the street. So I think that too.
Right, Justin. So he would do it if there was no camera? Or is that why you just put yourself in a stupid disguise and cased out the joint a couple of days before and found out what they were wearing, the guys doing the sewer project, so that you could have this word salad excuse for it later? Or would you have found a better place to off him where there was no camera? Huh. That's crazy word salad.
It just speaks to the fact that I didn't do this. It'd just be crazy to.
Or you didn't see the camera, right, Artie?
To put yourself on camera, to put your own vehicle in front of a camera would be just insane.
Just one final question, Mr. Tellis.
Yes, sir.
I talked to a lot of people in the community, and I don't hear a lot of sympathy for you. In fact, a lot of people are happy that you were sentenced to life in prison. What do you have to say to those people?
Oh, it was cut off. It was cut off. The time was up. Oh my God, we have to hear that again. Just the question. Hold on. Hold on.
Sentenced to life, and I don't hear a lot of sympathy, Mr. Tellis. Just one final question, Mr. Tellis.
Yes, sir.
I talked to a lot of people in the community, and I don't hear a lot of sympathy for you. In fact, a lot of people are happy that you were sentenced to life in prison. What do you have to say to those people?
Oh, it cuts off. It cuts off. You know what I love the most is when these things come up in my video is on there, and it recommends me to my own video. It didn't, but it recommends us to the Glera. Is the Glera still on?
Conferences happen.
He is.
All right.
Hi, Will.
Now,
he's been on for how many hours
seem
now?
Petty, but there's
only 89 minutes. That's a really short one for him. Oh my goodness gracious me. Oh my, that reporter, Dana Wagner. We need to find him. Is he on the Twitter? I don't do the Twitter, but you guys do, right? Yeah, there are cameras all over Vegas. I'm sure they are everywhere. I'm sure there is nowhere that you can go and not be on camera in Vegas. Let me see. Somebody put it up here. Here it is. Yana, thank you. Reporter is Dana Wagner, KSNV at Dana News 3LV. All right, there you go. Go follow him. Tell him you watched it here, and we think he rocks. Maybe he'll come on my show. Wouldn't that be cool? You know who's going to come on the show is Lauren from Hidden True Crime. We were talking before she left to go do the Corey Richins thing about her observations from in the courtroom. Maybe we could do like a whole a whole panel of celebrity people that we deem celebrities that were in the courtroom. And this guy who got an amazing Jailhouse interview. That's incredible. Thanks, Churicity, for thanking me for putting in the OT. It was my pleasure. Happy Friday night, everyone. D, thanks for the 5. I agree. I thought this interview was better. No fluff. The question should make him uncomfortable, but no, it's Robert Tellis. Yes. Rachel Ann says, I don't know why, but I'm getting Tiger King vibes. Did anybody watch Tiger King with Sylvester Stallone? I love that show. I think it's amazing. If you haven't watched it, check out Tiger King. So good. I thought it was going to be really, really cheesy. It's like Sylvester Stallone playing is he a mob guy or he's like a I don't remember, but because I watched it a long time ago, but it's great. So good. It's Deanne's 53rd birthday on September 1st, and we are a gift. We are a gift to Deanne. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Deanne. Nifty 50s. Match DC. Thanks for the 10. Your Friday freeze game is on point. Thank you. Thank you for the 10. Backseat Berta, says Mama She. Thank you, Mama She. Mama, you guys are amazing. This was so much fun tonight. This was like a really great Friday night, don't you think? Cold beers on a Friday night. Let's see if there's anybody else here I need to thank before we wrap it. Mama She, I did for the killer cooties. I thanked you so very much, and you guys are freaking awesome. The best, the absolute best. Tiger King. Anybody else recommend? Tulsa King. That's what it is. Tulsa King. Tulsa King. Thank you. I was like, that didn't sound right, but I'm like, wait, Sylvester Stallone. I did watch it a long time ago. It is so good. Go watch it. You guys, you know I always give you good recommendations. I recommended Jury Duty. You guys liked it, right? You guys liked is Tiger King a different show? Well, forget it. I don't know about anything about Tiger King. Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone is amazing. Great show. Loved it. Jury Duty, also a great show on Amazon Prime. It's like a half reality show, half candy camera. Really good. Really, really good. We're going to have to start diving. We're going to go back to, thank you, Jury Duty. Amazing. It was awesome. Thanks, Higher Truth Art, for being here. All of the new people who are here, we welcome you. Thank you for coming here. This is a really fun place to be and hang out, and the chat is very friendly. So, oh, Free Carol Baskins. That's what Tiger King was. Those people. Okay. I never saw that. Joe Exotic. Okay. Yes, I am extra. That's, you know what? That's, I'll take that as a compliment because I've been called a lot worse. So there's that. Presumed Innocent. That was very good too. You know what I'm watching now? I just finished it. Actually, it was only 4 episodes. It's in French and German. So you have to watch it because you have to watch the subtitles, but it's called The Perfect Mother. Did anybody watch that yet? On Netflix? Really good. Really good. The Perfect Mother, Netflix. Anyone? Oh, Jason sent me a meme. Hold on. Let me see if it's, where'd you send it to? Oh, here it is. All right. Jason Smith gets all the credit on this. It's a Rob Tellis boss baby. All right, Jason, can anybody go follow you on any socials? Like, we have to give you some credit for this. Hang on. It's coming. We coming. Like Deion Sanders is saying, we coming. Here it is. A great set. You're funny, Jason. Very, very, very funny. Thank you. Thank you for that. You rock. All right, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Thank you. Thank you. Jason is very talented, right? Jason, you're getting better. I remember when you first started doing the memes was during the Maya trial, right? I don't really have an Instagram yet, but I will post my memes on this. What do you mean? It takes 30 seconds to set up an Instagram. Even I'm back on Instagram once I sanitized it and took all my kids' pictures off it because people were trolling my kids. You know, those crazies on Twitter. And that's when they say I rage quit Twitter, but I just quit Twitter because I don't need the drama in my life. Who does? Live your life without drama. It will be much more enjoyable. And you won't have to worry about it. Right? All right. We must go. My Instagram handle is in the video description. It is the.melanie.little. The.melanie.little. I think it should be in the video description. There should be a little thingy. Yeah, the.melanie.little. Hold on, I have to look at it. You know, that's where I post all my concert footage and like the Sphere footage. I got some cool stuff like that. And then sometimes in my story, I put like the stories that we're covering. And, you know, I put cool music on them always. Like, you know, It Wasn't Me. The Shaggy one was Boss Baby. And I did some stuff on Sandra Birchmore. And I put in, what song did I play it? When the Walls Come Crumbling Down. And that's fun. That's the fun thing about Instagram is that you can use music on there and not get in trouble. You don't get stricken. Like the last show that I did earlier about the hockey player and his brother. They didn't strike me exactly, but I played a clip that had music in it where I'm going to share the revenue with the creator, which is fine with me. That's fine with me. So yeah, so freeing. I don't even look at Facebook anymore. I call it Fake Book. Hate it. Hate it. Hate it. All right, everyone. Thank you to my mod, Scott Messerschmidt. Thank you. Cheryl, I saw you in here too. Scott, I believe, was here. Who else was here tonight? You guys are amazing. You know who you are. I love you with all of my heart. And my members, I love my little cupcakes. And also my viewers, please just, hit the like button. It's like a nice thing. It's like a nice thing to do for the creator. It helps the algorithm. It helps people like find it, find us, find me. And then if we don't like the people, we just kick them out. And that's what's the best part. We have boarding passes. They're one-way boarding passes for trolls that come in here and are mean to us. We just say goodbye and we give them, here, I'm going to put it in the chat for you. Members get special emojis. We have a bunch of them for this trial and other trials. There's the boarding passes right there. We give them a boarding pass. And Scott, who's not, I don't think Scott's here tonight. He's been here with me all day, but he likes to give out boarding passes. He likes to. And he, no, I didn't delete anything. Tristan. I didn't delete anything from you. I think you're always nice. No, all good. We're all good. Here's Cheryl. There's Cheryl. There's Scott. You guys are awesome. All right. I'll probably be around tomorrow doing something. Got to cover Sandra Birchmore again once I get my emotional bandwidth. Oh, Mozzie in Australia with the Australian super sticker. What time is it in Australia? It's like 15 or 16 hours ahead. Like it's already tomorrow for you. You're into Saturday. Hi, Buzzin' Mom from Texas. Good to see you. Thank you, Mozzie. All right. At some point we got to get some sleep around here, right? I'm sure we can go over and see the glare. Wait, if he's still streaming, I'm going to send you guys over there. But I'm going to warn you that if you have virgin ears, it might be a little. You might, sometimes he's free. He has a lot of like free speech. He's all about he lets it go. I'm gonna send you all over there. I'm gonna redirect you. Tell him it's a cupcake invasion when you go. All right. So that he and I did a great show together actually a couple weeks ago. We need to do another one. We're ready for part 2. I thought it was a great show. I loved being a co-host with him. I thought we had a great vibe together. I was like, SiriusXM should give us a deal. We could be like the new, Robin and Howard. I thought we really, really did a good time. We did a good show together. Did you guys watch it? Because I thought it was great. Here it is. We're going to redirect you right over to there. Hopefully it works. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. You never can tell. Thank you. You loved us. All right. That was a great show. We got to do it again. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, go back and find it. I posted it on my community page and I don't have a lot of community posts. So I put it in there with the link and you can go back. And so if you don't mind the language and he talks and he's not afraid to say a lot of stuff and he's really funny. And he's a tall drink of water. So, it's all good for everyone involved, right? Be cool, be kind, be classy. As I always say, I'm going to teleport you over there now. If you decide to go, guide your actions accordingly. Cupcake invasion. Ready? 1 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good night, everybody.